Hello, Minnesota history class. This is going to be a brief sort of tutorial about the changes that are going to be happening to our class in response to the ongoing crisis. As I mentioned, we are going to be moving everything to an online format. So this video is going to be sort of explaining the changes that are being made and how to go about accessing and engaging with the class in its sort of new online format. I'd like to thank everyone for your understanding and being flexible through this process. I realize that the situation is far from ideal, and that really for the rest of the semester, it's sort of my main goal and the campus's main goal to just sort of try to get everyone through it as best we can, and just keep in mind that that's sort of where we're coming from moving forward. So this isn't going to be perfect. I'm not going to be expecting perfection on your end either. I'm really just going to be looking for you to be engaging and participating in the class as much as you can, and as well as you can. And I'm also very much going to be taking the current circumstances and how difficult they are for everyone into account when looking at grading and assessing work and so forth. So those are sort of disclaimers moving into everything. The first thing I'd like to do is to real quick go over our syllabus and the changes that are being made. First of all, of course, as mentioned, it's going to be now moving into an all online format, so we'll no longer be meeting in class on Friday mornings. Everything is now going to be done entirely online. That means that I'm also going to be changing the due dates for all assignments, as all assignments are now going to be due on Sundays at 11:59 p.m. So essentially you're going to have all week to work on the material for that week, and you just have to turn that material in by the end of the weekend. And I will then grade it after that in post responses and your grades the following week. The reading requirements are really going to be the same. They are not going to be changing, but there is going to be an updated class schedule. So essentially we're just going to be moving everything back a couple of weeks since we've had those 2 additional spring breaks moved on. If you scroll down to the end of the document, you will notice that there is a revised section here. Everything that's been changed is in purple. As you can see, the dates now have changed and everything has been moved back, and we've just condensed a few of the last weeks to try to get as much in as we can, but still there's going to be obviously not as much as we would have been able to be covering had these 2 additional weeks not been added in. But this will give you a good idea of what is coming up and what to prepare for moving forward. The big change, so the reading requirements are going to be the same, and the reflection of questions are going to be essentially the same as well. You'll have the entire week to read these chapters and the resources, reflect on those, and write your answers to the reflection questions, just like we would be doing if we were in class. The big change and the big addition is that I'm going to be adding on an online discussion board based around primary sources that we're going to be engaging with every week. On your own time, you can go through and read the specifics of this as far as reading through the document, your answers, and so forth, listed here, as well as then discussing with other students. And I'll be in the section where I'm showing this online. I'll be showing you where all of this can be completed. The biggest thing is, just like with the reflection questions, for the discussion questions, you'll be reading the document. There'll be some predetermined questions for you to address and to answer. You're going to post those answers on the discussion board, which I'll be showing you where that is in just a moment here. And then you're going to be responding to at least one other student's post. The online discussion questions are essentially going to be taking the 15 points for what would typically have been our in-class activity points. So at this point moving forward, all those in-class activity points are going to be covered by these online discussion board and their points. I have sent out and uploaded a new grading rubric for these discussion questions that sort of goes through exactly what my expectations are. They're going to be very similar to the reflection questions as far as looking for you to provide specific examples and word length counts and so forth, but definitely take a look at those and let me know if you have any questions. To sort of close the feedback loop then, I'm going to be providing review videos after you've turned in your materials every week, so the following week, kind of discussing your answers and your reviews. This will be after I graded your work to try to provide feedback to the class on your answers, sort of see what the class was thinking, if there's anything I would like to add in, I can do that and sort of continue that discussion and learning period then forward. Another big change I'm making is to our field trip reflection paper. If you have already done your field trip before all this broke out and happened, that's great, and you can still use what you did to complete the assignment unaltered. If you were not able to do that, you are no longer going to be expected to go in person to one of these locations. Instead, I'll be providing a list of links to essentially sort of online exhibits that you can attend and review and fill the paper and that requirement with an online exhibit. So you won't require you to go anywhere in person and risk exposure at all. Finally, I'm going to be altering my office hours slightly. The time is essentially going to be the same as when our class would start. So if you see Fridays 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. will be one time, but there's also going to be a number of other times throughout the week. Tuesdays 11 to noon, Thursdays 6 to 7 p.m. You can always email me during those times, and I'll be there checking my email and getting back to you. But if you would like to actually talk face-to-face and in person with me, I'm going to be hosting office hours via the Zoom tool, which should be available and free for you to use. You can go ahead and follow this link for specific instructions on how to use it. It's pretty easy and straightforward, actually, and it should be an easy way for you to communicate with myself. So if you'd like to talk in person, these are sort of the days that is going to be available and open for that. And once more than just saying that I know that these changes are very much not under ideal circumstances, but definitely that my ultimate goal is continue to help all of you to meet your educational goals. And if you think for whatever reason this new system is going to be giving you a challenge with still participating in the class or anything else, please let me know, and we can work on still finding a way for you to get a fulfilling experience with the class given the current limitations that we are working under. Alright, so as far as the changes and how they're going to look, you're still going to be getting into our site exactly like you would, going up to Normandale's main page, logging into D2L, sign on in if your star ID and password. And then if you scroll down, you will see still our class listed here with the little frozen spring cherries there. And once more, the basic setup is going to look very similar. All that is still going to be there. If you'll notice, the calendar is updated now with our new assignments. So for example, the midterm essay is still going to be due on April 5th. There's also going to be our reflection questions for that week due on April 5th. April 12th, then you're going to really see, as we get into the new changes, those reflection questions still being due, but then having discussion questions listed for April 12th. So as usual, the way to access all of this is going to be right up here under Content. If you click on that, you will then go to our various weeks. So for this week, you can see our extended spring breaks listed here for March 20th, March 27th. And then you can see the new dating system being kind of a week to week. So this week is going to be running from March 30th to April 5th. Of course, your midterm essay is still listed here. You can click on this to submit your essay. If you have any questions on the essay or anything, I know Robert went through all this before sort of all this broke out. Hopefully you have a good idea on the questions and what I'm expecting. But if you have any additional questions on that, please feel free to let me know. But also there's still these reading requirements for this week, which I would like you to complete, and then to complete the reflection questions for this week as well, which I'll then be able to grade and go back and we can have a discussion in my review of this week as well. So we'll still be getting our learning in about the progressivism, women's suffrage, and prohibition. Looking at next week then, this is going to sort of typically how the weeks are going to look for the rest of the semester. There is once more going to be the reflection questions based on the readings listed up above here. But then there's also going to be a link here to discussion questions. So first step is going to be to read the articles. For our first one here, it's going to be really easy because you're really just going to be looking at the photographs that are provided in Atkins' book in Chapter 11, as most of that chapter it contains photographs. We're going to be looking and focusing on those for this particular primary source exercise. After reviewing those, you can go ahead and answer these 3 questions on the discussion board by clicking right here. You can start a new thread and type in your message here and post. Then there's going to be other students' threads showing up underneath that you can then click on to respond to your other students to fulfill that requirement. And that's essentially it. Those are the only changes. So a lot of it's going to be the same as far as the reflection questions go. We're adding in the discussion component, and that is how we're going to be proceeding until the end of the semester. Of course, I'll be doing my review videos. My office hours are now going to be, you can join me on Zoom. But outside of that, everything should still be pretty familiar and similar, at least as far as what is posted and listed online. I know you still might have a lot of questions. Please feel free to contact me and let me know. And once more, if you feel that you are going to have difficulty engaging with the class in this capacity, let me know and we'll find a way for you to still participate and be successful. All right, thank you all very much. And as always, stay healthy, stay safe.